Hi, my name is Sydney, and today I'm going to be talking about the different types of graphs there are and how sometimes these graphs can be a little misleading. Okay, so the first kind of graph is the bar chart. Wait, here's my note card. Okay, so the first type of graph is the bar chart. These are supposed to be used to quickly compare things because use bars. So you should be able to tell if something is significantly like higher or lower than all the other things. These can be really good if you have like a few data points to show, but if you have more than like 5 to 7, it's typically not a good graph to use. If you do have a lot of data points though, it's best to like flip the chart on its side so it's like this and the bars are coming out this way instead of coming up this way. It's a little bit easier to see visually. Bar charts are usually used for like ranking things. So the example used in the video was like the most downloaded app in 2020. And just keep it simple because things can get confusing. Try not to have like a bunch of data points, or if you're doing like a stacked bar chart, try and not do like multiple stackings because it's really visually confusing and you're gonna be looking at it forever. The next graph is the histogram, which is pretty much like a bar chart, except it's used to show things like population distribution. A histogram is more about trying to show you like the broader patterns. So like with population distribution, like how old a population is or how young a population is, because you'll be able to see like if it's a really young population, you're going to see it more like wider at the bottom and it like slowly goes up. I hope that makes sense. A pie chart is apparently hated by the graphing community. I didn't know that. It's bad at showing multiple data points, so don't use a pie chart if you have more than 5 data points. And a good rule of thumb to make your pie chart easy to read is to don't use a lot of data points, and use a lot of labels, and make sure you color code your labels with your data points so people know what they're looking at. The next kind of chart is the scatter plot. The scatter plot is really helpful with showing correlation between things, or if there isn't a correlation. It also helps you like spot outliers and clusters of data points. And these can be really persuasive if you're trying to persuade someone of something, because if the points are all clustered together, I mean, you really can't deny that. The next kind of chart is the line chart. This is what we've been learning how to do in class. The line chart shows changes over time and are pretty easy to do in my opinion. You can also misrepresent line charts pretty easily, and also bar charts. So a couple of ways to like distort your graph and to make it misleading is distorting your scale. So with like, okay, if you distort like your y-axis like in a bar chart, it's gonna paint it like a completely different picture. In the video, the example they used was I think it was Chevy. I don't know, I think it was Chevy though. Like Chevy put out an ad saying that 98% of their cars are still on the road after like 10 years. And they compared it to all these other car brands, and it looked like Chevy was all the way up here and everyone else was like down here. But the scale on the y-axis was only from, I think, 95 to 100%. So in reality, all of them, if you charted it from 0 to 100, all of them would be like around the same. So yeah, they're just trying to sell their cars. You can also distort the y-axis, and that's a little bit more noticeable in a line graph, just because it's going to look weird that you're not going to use like the entirety of the graph. People also cherry pick when it comes to graphing, so they'll cherry pick like specific data points to try and persuade you to believe like something, or they can cherry pick like the timeline, like when it starts, kind of like with the Chevy thing, I guess. That's not really like a timeline though, but you get what I mean. They can make the scale weird, so it shows you different things. Charts can also be misleading if you don't know like the full significance of what the data is supposed to be representing. So like the example in the video, they used the average ocean temperature, and one of them it showed, it was pretty much like a straight line almost. It was like that, but it looked really like the ocean isn't changing temperature that much. But another chart showed how impactful, I guess it would be if the ocean changed temperature by like a half a degree or a degree, and just how that affects like ecosystems and everything. So you're definitely gonna get a big, like a completely different, oh my god, I can't think, my brain. You're definitely gonna get a completely different idea of how important changing ocean temperature is depending on the graph you looked at. So make sure when you're looking at a graph, you are eyeballing the labels, the numbers, the scale, and the context. Thank you.